Hi everyone, it's Jen from Mind's Eye, and we're going to go ahead and do the weekly Be It Be, the open discussion about the occult and magicians and witchcraft. And this week is about Agent Orange. So basically, all you need to know is that Agent Orange was this, uh, per se, this chemical reaction that came through. But when I'm seeing it as a psychic and as a magician, it really was this like type of reaction that came through that actually made like what they call a true dent forum come through. And so a true dent forum that comes through actually is when it makes you like pop out of your skin and like creepy crawly feeling. And when it comes to that, you can't do it. You're almost like frozen like this. And when it happens like that, all of a sudden you start doing this. Then all of a sudden you freeze and you're got it. And you blink and then all of a sudden you're seeing like 30 days out. And then all of a sudden it's like dementia like symptoms. And then the dementia symptoms come through and then you have like issues like oral issues, and then all of a sudden you have urine issues, and then it goes down to diabetes mellitus, and then it really goes downward from there, and then it comes through and it's so hard, and then you like your true self as like with the Crips and the Bloods, and and then all of a sudden like you're ill like this, and then all of a sudden you're true. No, like I'm good. I can do anything, and what is true. Now, from what I've seen from veterans in the Vietnam era who are still with us, they really go about, and a lot of them do have diabetes, and a lot of them do have urinary issues, and a lot of them are very like candy, and a lot of them are like I got to do this, and I have to do it this way, and I'm going to do it this way because it's true. So, how would Agent Orange be related to the occult or to any form of witchcraft? It really is like a type of scared hate that you can't even get out. You can't even get out. So, let's actually look at the White Sage Tarot and see what this is. What do we need to know about Agent Orange when it comes to the occult and something that locks like an obscurity up to where you can't even see it for like 375 years? All right, it's a deal. It has to do with a mixture that came in through Vietnam at that time. And let me look at it. It really was a type of cocaine that was a sure dent, a sure dent. And when it was Sheridan, it really was like a feeling of Pueblo Escobar. And when it undercut like the wind of the feet. It like made them fly up at times and leap and bound and through. And when you came through it, you see the three of wands in reverse. You could not foresee anything. You just do. You just do it. And when you do it, you came in and it had an ending, the death card, but it wasn't death either. When you see it, you see the Knight of Pentacles, and like things come back towards them because of the way their vision is of foreseeing. Like they can't foresee something coming, but man, are they clear. They are clear in the mind. There's no dementia symptoms whatsoever. Like usually those who pass away, like this is like the symptoms that I have, like that are like of Agent Orange. They're like, no, it's like this type of cough that is trying to propel them forward. And then they go, and you can't even do 7 reverse means the deal was off the table. And I'm seeing like southern Vietnam. And it caused solitude, like they clammed up. And when it came in fast, wind, and then there was no victory. And victory was spelt different. Like it's an aftermath, after effect of Agent Orange that you can't do anything. Like you can't put a due date on it. Yep. They're almost like too prophetic. But let me tell you, they're creative also because of the way that it came through. It wasn't so much injectable or by snorting or in like accidental in the oral cavity. It really had something to do with the way it was when they were sweating. It caked on. It was like I see it right in the mortars. I see it right in the rounds, the bullets. So when I see the three of cups actually come in, you couldn't even like get together with people. It wasn't a stick. It was like a trudent, trident, and then do it down. Like they would have previews of what was to come. And then you go, I feel like this has happened before. It really had. It really had. It was so bad in World War II. It really was more heroin in Korea. And then it literally calmed down right up through Afghanistan. And they're like, it's puppies. So you really couldn't even do anything whatsoever. But their vision acuity is not a depth perception of where the optic nerve actually does a foresight. But what they can do is a type of psychic that's a type of digging where they get on the low. And when they get on the low as a psychic, they actually like almost live it out like a preview. And if they know how to control it really well as a psychic medium and highly intuitive person, let me tell you, in like 3 or 4 steps, they can show you exactly what it is to do in about like a 3 to 4 to a 48 hour. It really is odd. They say it's usually like a free will choice, but it's accurate. It's odd. It's odd. So how would that like relate to the Seven of Swords right now? It really is like highly not emotional either. It's not like a young emotion. They're like so straight out. So someone who has been like around Agent Orange that you can't even believe it. Excuse me. So they can set and actually do that, but this is how they are when they are trying to take that step forward and being like, okay, I got it. So when you go and goo it up, you can boo it, but you can't sue anyone any like of course can and then all of a sudden they're like talking, and then all of a sudden they'll walk away and they're like, bye, see you later. They usually don't talk much either because they have a hard time. It's like a type of aphasia that they have that you can't even do. I'm almost like acting it out. Like, why would I act out something? It's just like, it's just prevalent with me. So when I look at this and I see it as what do we need to know in the current week that has to do with Agent Orange, that has to do with the occult and magicians and witchcraft, and how people who have been exposed to Agent Orange. So when you see it and you actually hear it, you can't even believe how hard it is to do the district attorney is. They are people who are not always married, but they need a partnership. They need like stability, balance. They're very good with legal and law enforcement and military and contracts. They're down to the point to where like grammatically they can go to the period. So how would that be occulted? He goes, this is where they have a hard time getting it out. So here it is, Knight of Wands in reverse. It really is like a car. Where is this going? No logic. To Page of Wands. Again, Knight of Wands, Page of Wands. It is like a stop theory where the logic and cutaway comes in with this Queen of Swords. And then they look around and then they say addiction. It's not always illegal substance with these guys who have been exposed to it. Lesson of the struggle. And then you go Ace of Wands in reverse. And then it slows down. It slows right down. And then like at rest. Let me tell you something. You couldn't even do it. The Chariot in reverse goes. It's a slowdown. There is like something here. What do we need to know? Let me see. Peg in a hole of a drowned rat. There's a lot of oddities going on here with criminal activity here in Connecticut. You just can't explain it. And that was exactly what me and 2 other friends said. We're like, it's something with Agent Orange that's going on with this criminal activity. They're not older, but it's new. Like it's just brand new on what it is. It's the full card. So when you see it, a lot of times they're actually really good divinators. Like this. And when you see it, you go, holy cow, it's not what you wanted to remember about Agent Orange and about like something that could be hidden. Let me see if we can stir it up a little bit. Let's get to the crystal quartz. What do we need to know about Agent Orange? What's going on in here? Is it in any other state? And what do we need to know? It definitely is in Kansas. It definitely is something that you can't do alone. You can't buy it out, and you can't see it out, and you can't be it out, and you can't lee it out, and you can't D it out to be obey. So basically, what you need to know is that like it dictates, Agent Orange, it dictates when you need to find something. So yes, it's in Kansas. Something that it would have like it would bankrupt law enforcement and military right now if they found out there was something related to it, or like somebody had to hunt it down. And then like you basically have to be in this situation if you are an investigator or someone who's a magician and like you need to cut away with it. Like you need to be at home. Basically, you need to be at rest and just kind of pace yourself before you actually go and encounter fully, which is what, the investigators who did Bonnie and Clyde in the 20s and 30s, they were magicians. And let me tell you, like that whole scene with the highwaymen, they were true to it, that they will figure it out first and then they'll sit and be at rest. Because it was like a marathon. They used like their own so hard that they burn out. You can't even. So when I see it, I don't feel like it actually spread. I'm just like premonition symptoms. And that's when you hear it, you're like, there it is. And then you go, lack of like securement of money. There was something ritualistic, Agent Orange, and to make it occulted. They are lit. It is like a cocaine, but it's not a cocaine when they use it to make it occulted. It's not a true occulted like black magic with green magic, with gray, and then like with a black candle. it literally comes in like a harsh wave. It will hit you in the face. It is smooth when it does hit you with wind. You will have allergy symptoms. You will probably have a UTI after. And then after, it's like they tell you, like a psychic, these guys are like people who use it to a degree, but I don't feel like it's straight out of Vietnam. I feel like it's a makeshift, like a mimic out. It's odd. I do feel like it's something that you should do, and I feel like it's something that is like ghosting. I haven't seen that since really the Crips and the Latin Kings were doing a lot of do. And then when you do that, you go shoo it over and get it. And then I see Ezekiel's wheel. Let's talk about Ezekiel's wheel. There we go. What do we need to know about Ezekiel's wheel? Ezekiel's wheel came in like in the roaring 20s. And when you see it, it was a fly plane over. But when I see the plane, I actually see the earth plane. Horizontal. Just like maybe like a 10 up from ground level. So when you see the 10 of spades, it was a formation out. It was such a thick fog underneath you that you can walk through it and you can cut through it. So when you see this and you see this 3 of hearts, you go, it really is to go for it and go get your canteen and go get your rock because you're just going to go do. You're just literally going to go do. And then when you see it and you see this Jack of Spades, it really was to go for it. And then you get your orders and just go see it through. So the last time that happened in America was around 1956. And then when that happened, they already knew that they were going to go to Korea and they're probably going to go right into another war. It was such thick fog at the end of like it was hidden by mediumship. In mediumship, the earthbound spirits went, nope, you can't see it. Not allowed to see it. They threw it right in my face. 9 of hearts literally says like people would get anger and just like pack up and say goodbye and see you later because they already knew what to do. They knew what to do. They knew what was due, like as far as like retribution, and they just signed the dotted line. So when you see this and you see this 2 of hearts, you go, it was a get together. It usually is a get together, like a community meeting or like a meeting of minds at night. There's like concerns usually in like a 2 to a 9 days, and then it's see you later. When you see this 7 of spades come in and you go, you can't even like reach it out. That means you can't even like bind anything up in witchcraft to protect yourself or anywhere near it when like something of that suspect comes in. Now when they occult it, it really is like a string up and a bind up like a ball of twine. And when you loosen it up, it becomes an entanglement of like lines of kinetic energy that people get caught up in. That's why it is like a form of a cult. And so when it gets to a cult, you actually start thinking like the Kool-Aid gang, that type of cult. They're like all together all the time. So when you see this 5 of spades and you look at it and you say, how would a magician or a witch have to undo it? It really is a lot of clearing and cleansing. It is a lot of meditating. It is a lot of confirmations in, out, constantly. It's constant like talking with even law enforcement and military of acting out what you've probably burnt or mixed together, even up through sitting and eating like I don't know why tea. There's like a tea, like a type of tea, a tea. So when you see this, the Seven of Diamonds, I see they're not so much palmistry, because whatever it is, whatever has been used, it really has red palms all the time. So this Eight of Clubs comes in. That would be law enforcement, and they're watching and they're looking because they have experienced this in the public to a degree. So when you actually see it, someone actually will come in probably with a master's to a doctorate to actually examine everything. When you see this King of Diamonds, the cutout actually almost makes it even longer, like 8 weeks, because you got to boil it down to healthcare. Lastly, with this Queen of Hearts, they solidify that type of like unraveling and like a lack of entanglement, that you can't even do it hard enough and literally see it through, that you can't even be it. You can't sing it. That's why it's so hard. So when you actually have someone who is highly exposed to it, they're going to get agitated in the rough. So when agitated in the rough, it means that they're sharp with their words. They are less apt to do physical activity. They're going to sit and like so attuned to frequency and sound that they actually hate the radio. There we go. So basically what you need to know is all is good, but you can't do it done. You can't do it done when it's with Agent Orange. And when you can't do it, you have to remember things. And then you dream. And when they dream, it literally comes out like they'll treat you like gold. And they give you like so much service. And when you see it like technology, it really is like they don't really do a whole lot of technology. A lot of these guys don't watch a lot of TV. They don't do a lot of computer. They don't do a lot of radio. But when I see this, they're really compassionate, really, really compassionate. So when I see this Song of Your Soul, you'll feel the vibration. Absolute. Like absolute. Like you can't even do like a done, a DUN. You can't even. They'll erupt. Mothership. Okay, so those with like symptoms of exposure to Agent Orange, or if there's suspect of crimes related to Agent Orange, you have to go about and you have to see it yourself. You have to go on site. And then the danger actually comes in because of the wind of the gust. And we have to say, you can't even believe how hard it is to even get out, because you can't even do a do. You can't even do a do. Like there's not a lot of expressive emotion. So how would that actually affect everything to make it even occulted to where you have to say, I think I actually need to do a curse to get it out of you, like a curse out of you to see exactly what's in you. And so when I say it, there, here it is like you've got to be creative around those incidences. Now, like we talked about the real occult, like we talked about the sailing effect with the airplanes crashing, unfortunately, and we're still looking for this golden egg that keeps coming out. You literally like unlock, it'll slam you in the face. So, like I said, it would be like UTIs and sinus infections, just like that. Like you don't know who's dealing with it and who's gonna slam you, like throw energy. So bad, so bad. All right. Now a little bit on the softer. Let's look at the peach moonstone. What else do we need to know about this situation? First is Othala. It really has to do with a state. It has to do with uh, lower back, lumbar. I see them sticking at times to the lumbar, which throws out the root chakra. They become so solid, so wool, that they're happy. Like they're like, oh God, I'm not popping out. Thank God, I'm in my skin again. And they're strong. They're good. And then I see this. All of a sudden, it's haywire. They're like immediately haywire. Drugs and illegal substances that would mimic it would be heroin with a type of sweetener, and a sweetener with graham crackers, and then pudding. They eat it. A lot of times they'll do that. Unfortunately, saying it as an LPN, as a home care nurse, that kind of thing, like you just never knew what was going to come to you. You just couldn't even like believe it whatsoever. So lastly, let's actually close out with a literary witch's oracle. Here we go. There's some sort of like transformation and fantasy when it comes to it upon first use. When you see the skull, you have to look at it objectively. Transitions into reality. When you see white dress, you see appearances, society, and gender. I feel like it's related today of how there was an active gunman down in Florida. When I see this, it's Untamed Venture, that's the cat. And when I see the book, I feel like it was some sort of trolling to a degree. There, all of a sudden, there's like a big revelation, and you have to pace yourself all over again. Law enforcement and military, and this is very like common during a wartime effort. We just don't know what wartime effort is trying to come through completely, where it's like unveiling itself. So, with that being said, any questions or concerns, likes or comments, leave a comment, a like, a share, an email. It's greatly appreciated, and we will talk to you soon.